queer, trans, mask, and queer.
What's trans mask?
Trans mask is like people under the non-binary umbrella identifying like or presenting mask.
Masculine?
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm trans and my sexuality is unlabeled.
Oh.
I use he, him pronouns.
Yeah, and I use he, they pronouns.
Oh, good.
Fluid.
Oh.
Fluid.
Can you explain what that means to me a little bit more?
Whatever turns you on.
Pronouns.
She, her, it. I feel like honestly, it should not be a bad thing. Like I've talked to
It's
people
a bad
with
thing.
they and them. I'm like, well, in the grammar of things, how would you want to represent yourself? I was like, I mean, I guess it, because it's like you're it. You're the it.
Oh, you're
like
it.
It shouldn't be a bad name.
This
it
is
should be
it.
owned.
Oh.
Gay. Yes.
We know.
Yes.
We already know, babe.
He, she, her. Oh.
Her, for sure, she.
She.
Thank you.
I guess you could call me gay. I'm
He doesn't
homo-flexible,
know.
really. I do like some women,
Oh,
but
good.
mostly men.
Oh, I thought there was more than two.
Identify
Okay.
as a man. As far as sexuality is concerned, I'm kind of open. Like, I mean, if you excite me, then you excite me, you know?
I will forever support a child who wants to do whatever they want with their whatever, and I will always be there for any children who want to.
Wow. Well, hopefully y'all got to catch that initial video. I don't even know what to make it anymore. I mean, listen, it's obviously a mental health condition. It's a personality disorder. It's bipolar. It's a lot of things. What it isn't is people cannot change who they are. Okay. You can't change, if biologically you're a man or a woman, you don't get to change it no matter how many times you say it, whatever kind of nonsense you spew doesn't change it. And the rest of us don't have to play along with you. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, having, the opportunity to watch this stuff unfold, it's pure insanity. I mean, you think you're helping people. You think you're being accepting. You think that you're, I don't know, being understanding or compassionate. You're an idiot. All right. That's your problem. At the end of the day, you're making these people worse off. You're absolutely damaging kids by telling them they can change their gender. You're telling them they can become something they can never become. And so then you're wondering why there's all this confusion, why there's an exploding mental health crisis, why we have the worst performing schools, okay, especially in this state in Nevada, is because instead of teaching these kids reading, writing, arithmetic, government, history, the normal stuff, you're more worried about these absurd pronouns and being politically correct, which isn't even politically correct. I mean, let's just be correct for once. And if someone is born a woman, they're a woman. If they're born a man, they're a man. They could play pretend all they want. They could pretend to be whatever they want to be. But at the end of the day, stop confusing our kids. It's getting to be ridiculous. So thank you for joining another episode of Gloves Off. Of course, I'm your host, Joey Gilbert. We're here to run it back again, to talk about the nonsense, to talk about the stuff that's in our face every day that we don't want to, play the game with. We're going to stand for truth. That's what this podcast is always about. I always tell everybody, and they say, like, so why do you do this? Sure, I got better things to do. Sure, I've got all kinds of different projects I can be working on. But at the end of the day, I want to make a record. I want people to be able to look back and say, you know what? There was someone that stood up against the nonsense. And again, I have a lot to lose. This hurts my business. It hurts my bottom line. It hurts, my standing in the community because people think I'm a bully or I'm a bigot. No, I'm not going to play the game. I refuse to, call you some name because that's what you demand. You don't demand shit. All right. Not from me. I don't have to listen to your nonsense and I'm not going to. So Gloves Off is to punch back against the narrative. Okay. To punch back and push back against the stuff you're being spoon-fed at school board meetings, all right, at the county commission, at the city council, on the evening news, anywhere you see this nonsense going on, you should all be pushing back. You should all be punching back. Get in the fight with me. Just speak the truth. That's all we ask you to do. So tonight, as always, we have an unbelievable show, a great lineup here on Gloves Off, and we'll go through some of this stuff here. And it was titled, thanks to Amanda's title tonight, Was America in distress and children caught in the crossfire? So I always say, join me as we discuss this week's headlines that impact our nation's children. And Mama Bears, you're not going to want to miss this one. So we have a little list here, 25 ways America's being destroyed, the truth about the COVID vaccines during pregnancy, spike proteins in bone marrow. We'll see more and more children developing cancer, the truth about the whooping cough vaccines, Dr. McCullough on childhood vaccines, period. And Dr. McCullough is a friend of the program. He's been on this podcast. We're going to have him on again, especially with his new information out. An autism specialist, the disturbing items CVS sells next to kids' toys. Oh, kids protest furries. Brave girl testifies against trans violence. Germany to allow parents to transition babies. Crazy. And plus legal updates and more. So Travis, you know, one thing we will do before we play the video, we haven't brought up one of our sponsors, Z-Stack Life. I don't know if we have that ready to go, but you guys, you know what? If you read the tea leaves, if you see what they're talking about, there's more nonsense coming. There's no way they can allow this election to happen in November. Biden's going to declare a climate crisis. They're going to use something because they know they're going to get destroyed. No one is voting for Dopey, okay? No one is voting for this installed puppet. It's over. And so again, Travis, sorry about that. I want to say Z-Stack gloves off, the coupon code gloves off. You guys take this seriously. Buy these products. Make sure your immune system is in check. If you see what's in here, there's niacin, zinc, there's vitamin D3, vitamin C, all the things that we're deficient in. The reason that they wanted you off the beaches, wanted you in your homes, not outside. The reason they're dimming the sun, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, okay? I have just merely the research I've done, and I know they're even putting out videos saying we shouldn't be doing our own research. So now they're calling you a conspiracy theorist. If God forbid you get on Google or YouTube, or I would personally, you know, grok some of us that have early access to some of the tools that Elon Musk is providing, or just go on X, go on Twitter and look for yourself. There's plenty of information out there, and it's going to be exciting. One of the things we're going to be talking about a lot lately is I have personally decided that I am going to get a bill passed here in Nevada. Hopefully the governor will sign it, but we are going to block out the nonsense they're spraying in the skies. I don't care what you people say. I don't care how many mean names you call me. I don't care all the things you do to try and make me feel stupid. I'll tell you what's stupid. Stupid is looking up in the sky, in a blue sky, and there's planes flying and you don't see anything. And then the very next day at the same temperature, now there's lines that form a grid, and that grid comes together, and then it dims out the sun. If you can't see that, please do me a favor, stick your head back up your ass and just leave me the hell alone. Let me do what I'm going to do. But don't be surprised when I get it done, okay? Because I've got guys, I've got people, we're not going to tell you anybody, but we've got folks that just helped the folks in Tennessee. I've got people like Nikki Florio here in Nevada, and we're going to do whatever we need to do to put this through, right? We're going to put this through and make sure that they can't. And again, cloud seeding, something different. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know enough about it to say what they're using to cloud seed is safe, but I can tell you that the limited information I've seen on the testing of what they're spraying in the sky is really going to piss off the ranchers, the farmers, the ag folks in this state. So my people up in Elko County, okay, Eureka, all right, even Humboldt County, Nye County, everywhere. And again, I just wonder, you know, why don't they just go spray this stuff other places that don't have us folks in it? Why is it being sprayed over us? I don't know. I think it's something nefarious. If you're really trying to block out the sun, look at where the cities are. Go block out the sun in other places that don't involve where the big populations live if it's not something nefarious. So again, that's my limited sense. But Travis, let's roll that. We're going to go into our WTF news, and then let's play our first segment on destruction of America, 25 ways America is being destroyed.
TF News. 25 ways the U.S. is being destroyed in under 2 minutes. 1. Open borders and illegal immigration. 2. Rampant crime in unsafe cities. 3. Mass addiction and fentanyl. 4. Election insecurity and interference. 5. The educational indoctrination of children. 6. The asymmetrical weaponization of justice. 7. The destruction of private property rights. 8. Inflation and debt. 9. The global depopulation agenda. 10. Record low fertility and plummeting birth rates. 11. Unaccountable federal bureaucracies. 12. Toxic food supply. 13. Vaccine and pandemic disinformation. 14. The trans-contagion and sterilization of children. 15. Overprescription of pharmaceuticals. 16. Destruction of the nuclear family and parental rights. 17. DEI and the new racism. 18. Moral and societal decay. 19. The financing of endless foreign wars. 20. The sprawling surveillance state. 21. The centralization and consolidation of government power. 22. The destruction of trust in institutions. 23. The censorship industrial complex. 24. State media propaganda. 25. The smearing of those who challenge it.
Mission log 2050-01.
Huh. Well, I think we all understand what's happening here. I mean, you know, a couple of years ago, you would have called me crazy if I said that they were doing these things. Unfortunately, it's happening. And again, the last thing they said about to try and, you know, destroy, basically destroy the credibility, cancel the people that, you know, they don't want me telling the truth. They don't want me coming on here and telling you guys that all the data absolutely says that they're spraying stuff in the skies. How the hell else is all this stuff coming on the ground and ending up in our rainwater, killing the foliage, killing me? Again, why are they trying to destroy food production? Because when they try to sell you a lie that the climate is, you know, in this crazy state, and it's a crisis, right? And then they've got to show, you know, they've got to show something for it. So if they destroy food production intentionally, they get to then say it's the climate that's, you know, the climate's going bad. We have to do all these things that's destroying. No, you jackasses, you degenerates are destroying food production. And then you're blaming it on something that doesn't exist. Also, you can get your power and control over the people. So I don't know why we're not seeing lots of people in the chat over here, Travis, but something must be happening. You know, anytime I come in here and talk about this stuff, shockingly, they start messing with us. So if you guys haven't seen, we've got some new things going here. We got Gloves Off with JG as a new, handle on X. We've also going to have a new Instagram. We have to do this stuff because they have basically shut us down everywhere. So this is how we have to do this stuff, you know. And, you know, let me just back up a little bit here. You know, one of the things, and we're going to get to this, that blows my mind is I don't understand why these school boards are so incompetent. I don't understand why trustees that took an oath to try and fix these schools, why would you run for office if you're just going to sit there and keep your mouth shut and not stand up against the nonsense? I really do think, again, and again, for anybody that wants to, you know, jump on me, I am not talking about in Douglas County where I serve as the general counsel. Despite the internal fighting there, all of the trustees out there speak their mind, and if they see something, they do something about it, which is one thing I've got to say. You know, Douglas County is an amazing school district. The people out there do work really hard. You know, we don't have any of the nonsense that I see in these other schools. And if something does pop up, they jump on it right away. And they definitely don't deny it and lie about it and hide it and conceal it and then have their punk general counsel try and, you know, bury everything and lie about things and hide things and do the other nonsense he does, which, again, how that guy even has a job blows my mind. But again, we won't get into that right now. What I want to talk about next, and don't worry, we're going to come back to it. Trust me, I'm not done. No, you're not silencing me. No, you haven't scared me. You know who I'm talking about. I'm going to keep hammering you. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to start hitting you a lot harder. So let's go to this next one. This is important. Study shows that the mRNA COVID vaccine during pregnancy is highly likely to cause spontaneous abortion. Now, we do not have a video on this. Amanda will pay for that one dearly because she should have a video on it. But the study published in the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology involved 827 pregnant women who received at least one dose of the mRNA COVID-19 vaccine, Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna, between December 14, 2020 and February 28, 2021. The study found that the proportion of women aged 35 through 49 years old with spontaneous abortions was higher, 38.7, so 40% than with ongoing pregnancies, which was at 22%. So, I mean, you know what? Maybe some people are like, hey, Joey, that's a 25% increase is a lot, all right? Especially if you're one of those mothers trying to have a child for the first time. You might be a little pissed off that they didn't share that information for you. This did not, however, lead the researchers to conclude that the mRNA vaccination during pregnancy is highly likely to cause spontaneous abortion. Is this due to the conflicts of interest among the authors of the study? Dr. Linkine reported serving on the Pfizer Independent External Data Monitoring Committee for the COVID-19 vaccine. Meanwhile, Dr. Nailway and Dr. Vesco both reported receiving funding from Pfizer for an unrelated study. Go figure. So here's an interesting one. This one is amazing, guys. And, you know, every day you're hearing about it, whether it's turbo cancer or whatever it may be. On the last Gloves Off podcast, I talked about how Dr. McCullough laid out that there's three things, you know, that are basically making cancers, you know, blow out of control in people. And it all, I mean, again, I don't know if I don't know. I know I have it here because I put it here, but wait a second. Wait a moment. One moment, please, because I want to bring this up. We brought this up last time. If you just will give me a quick second. Where was it? It has to do with, wasn't 327. Sorry, guys. I don't have it on this side. I've got it somewhere. I know Amanda's got it. It's in our show notes. But I wanted to bring up the three things that we know are happening. And it's going to be an important segue. Bear with me a second here. So the reason why I bring this up is because, again, if there ever was a way that we would see cancer exploding, maybe it's because the fact that that there's three different. Amanda, why don't I have this? There's three different things. I don't know. I have this lawsuit to blocking Biden's DOJ. You know what? You're going to have to check the show notes. Amanda's probably freaking out. What is it? Oh, there it is. So have at least three mechanisms by which they could start a cancer or they could promote an existing cancer. Amanda, here in the messenger mRNA from the COVID-19 injections could severely disrupt the body's ability to repair damaged DNA, okay, to the S2 segment of the spike protein delivered specifically through the vaccine. Okay, so guys, the S2 segment of the spike protein, which only comes specifically through the vaccine, is suggested to critically suppress the key tumor suppressor proteins such as P53 and BRCA. This suppression effectively disarms the body's primary defenses against cancerous, tumors. And three, the formulation of mRNA vaccines includes DNA processes related to impurities that could carry oncogenic properties, and the fragments that are detected are the SV40 enhancer promoter and origin of insertion, as well as antibiotic-resistant fragments. So in summary, the COVID vaccines have at least three mechanisms by which they could start a cancer or they could promote an existing cancer, and it may occur more rapidly because the tumor defense systems are taken down. Holy shit, man. You can't make this up. You really can't. And so I got excited there. Of course, I slid my stuff to the side, but Ricardo, as good as always, has something for me. So here we go. The study published, like we said, the study published shows that these pregnancies are all being affected by the mRNA vaccines. And so then we'll move into this next one. And this is where I'm getting to it here. So Dr. Russell Blaylock, the spike protein collects in the bone marrow how many children and babies are going to develop leukemia or lymphoma. And we have a video. Travis, let's play this video. Unbelievable.
They found out this virus is heavily infiltrating the liver, the bone marrow, and the ovaries of women. Well, what do you think that's going to happen to fertility? When it infiltrates the bone marrow in this way and continues to produce this spike protein, which is the toxic part of the virus, what's this going to do to 5-year-olds and 6-month-old babies? How many are going to develop leukemia, lymphoma?
You know,
yeah. How many studies have you done to see about induction of leukemia and lymphoma? And the answer is none. Are you following up any of these cancer patients being injected? No. Is there any long-term studies to see what happens to cancer patients when you're getting this injection? No. Is there any long-term studies planned on the babies of the pregnant woman when she gets vaccinated? The answer is no. So you look at this and you say, here is a brand new technology that's never been adequately tested. You're giving it to hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, and you have no follow-up to see what are the long-term consequences. You know, when this was all approved, the experts and vaccine approval said, you know, for a new technology, you have to follow it for 10 years before it can be released. This was released within a matter of months.
I mean, like, guys, like, this is so crazy because for so long I took so much heat, and I'm still taking heat. I mean, like, if you ever look at my Facebook pages, I'll make a comment and then I don't understand what is the deal with these unhinged. I mean, I don't know if they're Democrats, I don't know if they're liberals, just unhinged people. Like, why do you so badly want to be right about the vaccine? Why are you so upset that I said this stuff was not going to be good? It's not good. All the data you can find anywhere on the planet said these vaccines are not good, and you're still being mean and spiteful and hateful. Like, that's not true. Like, you're a conspiracy. No, the guy's like, look, I have no dog in this fight. I never took it. I wasn't stupid enough to take it. I had the virus. So again, just with a simple little look online in Dr. Fauci's own paperwork, my natural, antibodies were going to protect me far greater than anything else. So why would I get it? And there's still people that literally come unhinged, or that saved my father's life, or we got it. No, it didn't. Actually, it made it more likely that you'd catch COVID. But here's what did save you and your family. The fact that you caught it, the vaccine made you more likely to catch it, and then your body's own immune system produced the antibodies. If anything helped you moving forward, that's what it was, not the vaccine. And again, this isn't me. It's all the data that's been compiled across the world showing that the vaccine did not provide one benefit whatsoever. Besides, if you read some of the paperwork, you talk to Dr. McCullough, that by actually your natural immune system from getting injected, doesn't matter anything. They could have stuck anything in you. Your immune system charges up because it's like, oh God, what is this? Something's in me. And that alone could have added enhanced protection to you. But then because the vaccine was producing these spike proteins that were not good for you and destroyed your broad spectrum antibodies, it was not helpful. And it most certainly did not help you in any way. It provided no benefit, meaning the actual whatever's in the vaccine did nothing for you. Please get that through your head. Please stop saying really stupid stuff like that vaccine saved my life. That vaccine saved my life. No, it didn't. And again, why do you care? Why are you so, I've never seen anything in my life where people are so like angry and like opinionated and hell bent on defending. You would have never seen anybody defend a vaccine before. Like that flu vaccine works. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. But why? What happened to you guys? What happened to common sense? All the data says it doesn't work. You caught COVID after you got it. You caught it more than anybody else. You got just as sick. Stop. Just stop, for the love of God. So we don't have another video on this one, but whooping cough boosters for adults. The vaccines don't even work for kids, experts say. So now, of course, Vaccines, if you guys haven't figured this out yet, vaccines are a big business. So NBC News recently reported whooping cough is rising sharply, warning pregnant moms and parents to vaccinate their kids and adults to get the boosters. Experts interviewed by the defenders said the vaccines don't prevent transmission. Oh, God, dude, I just can't. Okay, so they want you to get this, but experts interviewed say they don't prevent transmission and they come with dangerous side effects. So again, guys, Travis, if you could just pan back here for a second. People need to see this. Don't get the whooping cough vaccine. It doesn't prevent transmission and it comes with dangerous side effects. So Bob Sears, author of the vaccine book, Making the Right Decision for Your Child, told the defender that studies have shown that pertussis vaccine doesn't prevent transmission. Dr. Paul Thomas said that the NBC article completely ignores the risk of death from the vaccine, which is documented to be greater than the number of deaths prevented. Full stop. Stop right there. If you're any of these knucklehead, idiot, clueless, dipshit parents that rushed out and got your kid the COVID vaccine before you even took the time to do a little research yourself or looked on the CDC website that said children had a 0% chance of death from CV-19 and were far more likely to suffer adverse events from the vaccine, but you still went and got it for them? Here's a newsflash for you. You're more likely to die from the vaccine than from getting whooping cough. That's it. Period. Stop right there. Back it up. Get your head examined. Put your head back in the sand, but leave your kids alone, please. Dear God. So here we go. Even before you consider that 50 to 90% of sudden infant death syndrome occurs in the weeks after infant vaccines. Wow. Who knew that? 50 to 90% of sudden infant death syndrome. Remember when they had sudden adult death syndrome? Came on right after we started introducing the COVID jab. Well, here you have sudden infant death syndrome. 50, 90% comes within the week after vaccines. That's odd. Of which the DTaP is the most concerning. Maternal fetal medical expert who I've talked to, been on Zoom calls with, Dr. James Thorpe, told the defender that the pertussis vaccine has never been proven to be safe or effective in randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled trials, and there have been no long-term studies examining all the health outcomes related to the vaccine, Dr. Thorpe said. So again, guys, like, why am I on here? Why am I doing this? Why am I talking? I'm a lawyer, right? I do DUIs, I do personal injury, I do civil litigation, we do immigrant, we do it all. Why am I on here? Because obviously someone needs to, when NBC is putting out such misleading information, telling you to go get a vaccine with no long-term studies, that more people have died from the vaccine than what it prevented death. I mean, and you're not seeing this. At the very least, let Joey Gilbert provide you a different set of opinion and facts. Judge for yourself. And by no means am I asking you to take my word for it. I'm just telling you, do a little research before you inject this stuff into your children. It's insane. Let me say this. You need someone to whack you upside the head with a tack hammer if you really think giving your kids these vaccines makes sense after hearing the stuff I tell you. Sorry, but I'm going to say that. So now, this is awesome. Now, I saw Dr. McCullough do this. Amanda immediately, being Amanda, reached out to Dr. McCullough to get him on the podcast. He's busy till, I don't know, middle of May, but we'll bring him back on. Again, friend of the program, total stud. And I watched Dr. McCullough went on the podcast. Oh, May 22nd, he'll be on. He went on the podcast down in Vegas, the Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. And I like Brian. Let me tell you something. I don't know. Brian's one of these guys that just got, I don't know what happened to him, man. He got brainwashed. He bit in on the narrative. And, people want to believe it worked. No, it worked for me. It kept me out of the hospital. It saved my life. No, it didn't. And Brian, I don't understand, because I've had private conversations with him on the air. We like to be mean to each other and be jerks. But the guy's a smart guy. Like you could see by the questions he asked her, Dr. McCullough, he's well read, he's done research. I just don't understand why they can't just say, you know what, man, it was the greatest psyop ever, put against the entire global population. They got me. They had me believing it. They paid doctors millions of dollars. They paid, big pharma spent billions on marketing, and they got to people. But why can't you just say, you know what, in hindsight, holy shit, man, I was part of the dumbing down of America, for lack of words, because I listened to what they said and I bit off on it. And just come clean and say, you know what, man, that'll never happen again. I don't get it, man, because it's guys like that I'm most frustrated with. I can understand the meathead, narcissistic, ego-driven idiot doctors that still to this day won't come out and say, well, shit, based on the information out there and the data, maybe these things weren't safe. I don't know why. I mean, it's their egos, and it's the fact they're a bunch of cowards, and they're disgusting. You know what? I would love to get a few minutes in a room with some of these guys and slap the shit out of them, because they absolutely caused havoc and created death-like scenarios across this country by not just accepting the fact that they were wrong, and they kept pushing something that provided no benefit. They held back early treatment medication. They are responsible for so many deaths in this country, and they should be held accountable. But thank you, Dr. McCullough. Why did I go on that diatribe? Because this man has been standing up, and he got the vaccine, by the way. He got the vaccine. So he wasn't some, anti-vax. He got it. He experienced, bad effects from it. Okay. And he spoke out against it ever since. So let's roll this video on Dr. McCullough, and then, we'll roll it. We got to get going though, because I'm excited tonight, but let's roll Dr. McCullough. He's the best.
Looking at it, we have a situation that we just learned that the World Council for Health, now international body, is calling for a complete moratorium on childhood vaccines. First international organization to call for that. Why? Because the vaccines are piling up one after another. They're being given in multiple salvos. There are safety events now that we learned. In 1986, the U.S. passed legislation that indemnified the manufacturers of vaccines. In that legislation, it says the vaccines have unavoidable harm. It says that. So what are the harms that we're seeing? It's clear when the vaccines are given in multiple rounds. It's probably no single vaccine and no single additive, but it's the sum total of the vaccines given at once. We're seeing a strong signal towards neuropsychiatric disorders, so attention deficit disorder, Asperger's, autism, seizures, allergic diseases, asthma, atopic dermatitis,
even death,
need for termination, sudden infant death syndrome. And then the converse now. This is the converse, which is papers by Mawson, Hooker, Miller, Thomas, and an older Amish study. All 5 studies show if children go natural, no vaccines whatsoever, they have the best outcomes.
Take some pictures. I'm talking to my daughter. I'm trying to get her to get in this room here. She's hiding out on me. So guys, I mean, look, a couple years ago, I think everything was, fair game in terms of what we knew or we didn't know. Now we've got some top doctors, top experts coming out, sounding the alarm. And again, when you've got someone like, when you think back on it, right? So 1996, the Vaccine Injury Act even admits vaccines come with unavoidable harms. 5 separate studies now show that if children go natural, no vaccines whatsoever, they have the best outcomes. And there's about 200 published manuscripts showing its immune system deregulation. And the vignettes, the mothers tell us that the child was fine up until the time they took multiple rounds of vaccines, and then they developed autism. Those vignettes are almost certainly correct. We can't pin it down to any single vaccine, but I'm telling you in total, it doesn't look good. This is Dr. McCullough. This epidemic of autism is a tsunami. And you know how many mothers now, recent Kaiser Family Foundation survey shows about 1/3 of mothers and young fathers are now going natural. I would encourage everybody. And again, guys, look, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I had every vaccine known to man. I was in the military. I remember they sat me down, bzz, bzz, they hit me in the arm. I'll tell you something. I'm super sensitive to stuff. I wasn't right for a couple weeks. God knows what they gave me. But up until COVID, I had every vaccine, and I almost got it. I had friends, we got people. So I was going to get some of the early stuff. It was the end of November, going into December. I would have got the first ones. I chose not to. I had COVID. I didn't want it. I didn't need it. And so now it shows that a lot of us that stood our ground were very, very smart for standing our ground. So again, it's crazy. I don't know what to say, but here, let's go into this next 2 videos, Travis, because we're losing some time. Let's do this. Maiha Ma'an, an autism specialist and speech pathologist. And then we're going to talk about CVS selling sex toys next to the children's toy section because they're sick in the head. And then we're going to talk about furries and a personal furry story right here in Reno, Nevada. Let's roll it.
I was in the medical profession, so we decided to vaccinate the kids. When he regressed, I didn't even recognize that it was vaccines, to be honest. I wish I had known that vaccine injury can be delayed. I thought that it had to happen overnight. He would get very, very high fevers, terribly high fevers. He would be up multiple nights screaming. But I wasn't trained to know that these were vaccine related and causing damage. I was told that was normal. So the idea that people are born with autism, I can tell you as an autism expert, my son didn't have any of the signs of autism until 21 days after his vaccine. What is vaccine injury and why is this causing the problems? And it truly is a toxic exposure syndrome. I mean, aluminum is very hard to detox from. That aluminum sitting there is going to cause brain damage. You got to get it out.
Another disgusting display from another woke corporation, CVS. You are disgusting. Why in the world would you A, sell these items? B, if you're going to sell them, of all the locations in the store that you could have placed them, you choose to place them right next to children's toys. No one in the store that was stocking the shelves, no manager, looked at this and said, man, this seems inappropriate. Maybe we should put them, I don't know, on one of the other 30 aisles. Disgusting. Should be ashamed of yourself, CVS.
Well, obviously, guys, you know what you need to do. You got to just not patronize these stores. At the end of the day, go somewhere else. I mean, if this is how they're going to continue to do us, the American people that don't want to put up with this, we don't want to see this stuff. I mean, I go in there for stuff. The last thing I want to be doing is looking and seeing, that kind of stuff next to kids' toys. I mean, that's disgusting. And so again, it's not by mistake. No one made a mistake. They did it on purpose, just like Target did, just like Bud Light did. So it's very simple. Don't patronize these companies. Don't give them your money. There's other places to go. Most importantly, shop your local pharmacies. Go to your Raley's, go to your Sam's Club, go to your, Costco, go anywhere besides these big woke corporations. Don't give them your money. It's that simple. So again, and then, as we saw right before that, the autism specialist, it is really, really scary that you've got, I think it's 1 in 10 kids now, 1 in 30, because if you look back to what happened, they've expanded the vaccine schedule. So you only needed, 5 or 10 or 15 vaccines up to 1986. What happened between 86 and now that these kids need nearly 100 vaccines? It's called money. It's called big pharma. So just stop. Again, guys, at the end of the day, I'm not even going to say you do your own research. You don't need to stick all these chemicals in your children. Okay. When was the last time someone died from any of these things? All right. So again, it's pretty simple. So here, we're going to get on to this one. Travis, this is a big one. And let's go ahead and play it. This is on a furry infestation. Middle school students walk out in protest after school leaders allow furries to terrorize them. They bite, they scratch, they bark, they chew on sticks. They have a litter box in the bathroom. And here's something crazy. Marcy Hertz Middle School here in Reno, Nevada. They have furries that hiss and bark and growl at the kids, and the administration's hiding it. I called out to a friend who's a trustee and told them about it. I hope they do something about it. But this is happening right here in Reno, Nevada. Let's play the tape.
Hey, what are you guys protesting?
So we're protesting to pretty much ban the furries because they are barking at kids and spraying us with Febreze in our eyes. And
Hang on. Okay.
So we're protesting against the furries because they're trying to spray us with Febreze in our eyes. They're biting at us, they're scratching at us, they're growling at us, they're barking at us. And we're trying to make a difference and change that for all Nebo school districts so younger kids don't have to grow up dealing with this. And on top of it, our principal, Miss Taylor, is trying to pretty much make it so we can't do this on school property, and she just won't let us.
I've heard rumors about furries in school, and people on the media say it's a myth. It's not really true.
No.
What do you say about that?
I say that it is very true, and these kids are mentally ill, and they're trying to force their illness upon us.
What are they doing in class? Like, how are they being identified as furries?
They wear costumes. They sit on all fours. Kendall and Kirsten. Hi. Oh, hi.
You have your mom's permission to talk to the news, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
But they are
She's not on camera
having
right
us sit, like they're sitting on all fours in class, perch. They're wearing animal costumes. They're growling at us, barking at us in class. And it's very distracting, and we just want to come to school to learn.
They're barking at you in class?
Yeah.
Okay.
They try to give us rabies.
Yeah.
What kind of animal costumes are they wearing?
Cats, dogs, foxes.
Like,
anything.
what do you mean? Like a full-on bodysuit or what?
They're like tails, ears. It's very sexual and inappropriate. They're wearing butt plug tails underneath like skirts. They're wearing dog collars to school with leashes hanging off. It's just not okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How old are the kids in these classes?
11 through 13.
Okay.
Well, 10 to 13. 10 to 13 or 14.
Yeah, it's just really bad.
Where are they getting these ideas?
Their parents.
Their parents.
Their
The parents,
I don't
the
know if
internet, anywhere.
Well,
Okay.
we don't know if it's the parents. They might just be doing it themselves.
It is. The parents are a big part of their lives, and that's probably one of the big reasons.
What's the point? What are they doing it for?
Attention.
Yeah?
They probably don't get enough of it at home, or their parents just
What's the point of identifying as a furry?
honestly, I don't know. I feel they're just sick and they want attention, and I don't feel like they get enough of it from their parents or love, so they try and get it from other places.
So guys, this is a real thing. You know, it's funny, of course, the Utah papers, the Utah Tribune immediately issued a fact check insisting that the furry allegations were false and painted the furries as victims who are being targeted and those who are intolerant. Blaze News spoke with multiple Mount Nebo parents and students, including Kendallin, the 13-year-old girl who orchestrated the walkout and attending paper and online petitions. Blaze News received nearly a dozen pieces of photographic and video evidence showing some students in animal outfits causing a disturbance and even physical harm, and those videos will be posted to Substack. So I received a very disturbing message from a friend here in town whose daughter had a friend get beat up by a group of students. These students have been put on, have been told to the administration many times they're allowed to keep doing it. No action has been taken. This is at Marcy Hertz Middle School here in Reno, Nevada. And at that same school, they have furries. Again, they're going to lie to the trustees. The trustees, if you're not doing your job and you're not going out there and speaking to students and speaking to parents, shame on you. You should absolutely quit. And you definitely shouldn't continue to try and serve as a trustee. All right. You are the kids' only line of defense. All right. Besides their parents. So if you're not going to do the right thing, please just step aside and let people that are. And if you're currently serving as a trustee and you ran on a platform to end this stuff, Colleen Westlake, and you're sitting back, going with the groove, playing the long game, whatever that nonsense means, you need to wake up and check yourself and realize you got in by saying you're going to put an end to this nonsense. And I hope they bounce you out too. I really do. It's ridiculous that in Washoe County, Reno, Nevada, I've got parents that I know and respect, so I know it's not nonsense, reporting on furries being in their kids' junior high school classes and programs, and they're doing nothing about it. Again, it's absolutely insane. And I took some heat. You got the libtards all over the state, and I made a comment on Instagram. I said that you should beat, and it was funny. You should beat your kid if he comes up and says, "I'm a fox" or "I'm a furry. Call me a furry." And it was funny. I found another Instagram post that showcased what I meant by beating. This kid walks up to the mom and says, you're going to call me a furry. And she smacks at him and the kid runs away. That's the beating I mean. I don't mean like a sustained beating, but if you can't understand that not only do I think it's funny and think it should happen, but you've got these furries disturbing the normal kids and everyday kids. It is a mental health illness. If you think you are a dog or a cat or a furry, and if your parents allowing your children to wear furry butt plugs and other insane things to your schools, then you've lost your mind. All right. And you need help. And then you should rely on the administrators and hopefully the trustees to do the disciplining that you refuse to do. And I hope they do it. Again, I'm going to make a big deal out of this and I'm going to get to the bottom of it at Marcy Hertz, because if this furry stuff continues, watch who takes it down. Watch who takes it down. Joey Gilbert will take it down and tough guy Neil won't do a damn thing about it like he normally does. Nothing. So here we go. Brave schoolgirl reveals in graphic detail how trans students savagely assaulted her friend while blasting woke school officials to their face for letting it happen. So let's watch this one, and then we're going to have to get moving on Legal Eagles. This is sad.
Morning, I went to the guidance counselor and told her since I was second on the hit list, knowing that there was something going to happen, because there was a girl she was targeting every day at lunch. And they would go to the counselor and tell them every day that this is going to happen. And Wednesday I went with 2 others, and each of us filled out a whole paper full of what's going to happen and why it's going to happen. And then I went to chorus and I was told, watch your back. He is going to come for you and this other girl at lunch. And when I was at lunch, I was terrified, and I told Miss Fattori that that was happening, and she said, don't worry about it, it's not going to happen. But, and early that morning, I was told I was not going to see Mel for the rest of that week. But I was in lunch, and all of a sudden I just hear all this screaming and everybody running, and I see Mel running in after somebody, and everyone's screaming and running, but the girl who got attacked didn't see it because she was faced backwards, and all of a sudden you just hear these terrible, like, loud bangs of the Stanley bouncing off her head, and then you see Mel grabbing her hair and hitting her against the table and just repeatedly hitting her with the Stanley. There was blood going everywhere. I was the table right behind it, and all you see is blood everywhere. And it was just, and then you say in your email that it was 8 minutes, but we timed it, it was 28 minutes. And we had to sit in there and watch them clean up her blood off those tables and ground. And we had to watch them take her out with blood dripping down her face, and I will never forget that. And laying in bed last night, I just kept repeating it in my head, and we shouldn't have had to sit there and just watch them clean up her blood with the mop, watch her repeatedly yelling that I'm gonna murder you, and just hitting her with the Stanley. And I don't get how, you couldn't have stopped it. It was 5 hours from when I told you it was gonna happen and when it happened. It was 5 whole hours. I don't get how you couldn't have stopped that. And how Ms. Fattori said, don't worry, it's not gonna happen. We have her under control. But clearly you didn't.
Wow. So, guys, these school districts are going to keep paying out massive amounts of money because they're absolutely ignorant and they're ignoring the information being brought forth by parents. Same situation in Marcy Hertz. The school is on notice that a specific group of kids are targeting. This is all public knowledge. It's targeting people. One of the people I know, their daughter is now on the hit list. So this has been obviously, I hope, documented and has been brought to the attention of the school administrators, because when this child gets hurt, who's going to be liable? The school district. And it's because they're choosing to do nothing. They ignore it. They pretend like it's not happening. They make it challenging for parents to even file formal complaints. They say they can't help them. It's disgusting. It really is. And so again, this is just one of the 24 phone calls I get every week about what's happening in the schools here in Nevada, let alone Northern Nevada. And again, they're going to keep paying out large sums of money So what will they do? They'll try to attack the attorneys that are trying to get justice for the students and for the parents for simply doing our jobs. It's not fair, but someone's got to stand in the gap. They have to. And we're not going to be, bullied or scared or threatened for doing our jobs, which are protecting children. Your job is to protect children. Why don't you do it so I don't have to do it? You know exactly what I'm talking about. So here's another one. I don't even want to go. I'm just going to mention it briefly. Germany has passed a new law that will enable parents to transition their babies starting from the moment they are born. So the new law, which goes into effect on November 1, allows trans people to change their legal gender by filing out a simple self-disclosure form to inform the registry offices. Under the previous law, trans people had to first be assessed by two psychiatrists, probably because it's a mental health condition. Did you hear that? Two psychiatrists to obtain permission from a court before they could legally change their gender. But now under the self-determination rule, what could go wrong here? Okay, what could go wrong here? Name and gender changes will be processed within 3 months of filing the self-disclosure form. For children under the age of 14, the law will require parents to submit all relevant documentation, while children over the age of 14 would be able to submit the documentation themselves with their approval of their legal representative. If the child's legal representative does not approve of the change, the child can still override their decision if they get approval from a family court. I wonder how hard that will be, since family court judges are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in this area right now. Once the person's name and gender are changed, they cannot be changed again for at least 1 year. And again, I digress. I'm sorry for saying that, but the judges right now are going off data that is absolutely incorrect. All the data I've seen, you are 19 times more likely to commit self-harm, okay, attempt suicide or commit suicide once you've been given cross-sex hormones, puberty blockers, or, God forbid, engaged or had gender affirmation surgery. Let me say that one more time. First of all, 7 countries have now banned these practices, all the Norwegian countries. The UK is rolling it back. The French government, Amanda will put it in the comment, has called it the biggest ethical violation of our lifetime, medical ethical violation of our, it's out of control. It's out of control what's happening. So when you've got governments saying this is bad, but the United States and the judges are still rolling with bad data from 20 years ago, we got a big problem. All it would take you is, you know what, if you're a judge here in Nevada, have a conversation with Miriam Grossman. Call up Miriam Grossman, Dr. Miriam Grossman, who's got her MD, board certified, been doing this 40 years, testified in front of Congress, in front of what's his name? Dan Crenshaw, and see what they have to say. And again, Amanda puts it in the comments. The French government report declares child sex changes could be the greatest ethical scandal in medical history. So judges, wake up. It's not what the child, so the child can't drink. And I love this because I go into family court and I go into Jan's Evans. So the child can't drink. The child can't drive. The child can't vote. The child can't get a tattoo. The child can't smoke weed. The child can't go tanning. The child can't stay out past curfew. But the child can't decide which parent they want to live with. But you'll let them decide that they can make these decisions for themselves and medically transition or go on cross-sex hormones or puberty blockers. How does that make any sense? Tell me how that makes sense, please. It doesn't, and you know it doesn't make any sense, and you need to stop. So, Travis, let's roll into Legal Eagles, and we'll roll through it fast. Let's just hit it. We'll touch on it, and then we'll get into these nuts.
Eagles.
So this is scary, guys. I'm going to roll through these pretty quick. So Legal Eagles, approximately, we have about 2 minutes to cover this stuff. So North Carolina court rules the Federal PrEP Act protects forced vaccination without parental consent. So this is scary. A North Carolina appeals court found that a clinic where personnel gave a 14-year-old boy a COVID-19 vaccine without his consent or parental consent was protected by, get ready, the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act, the PrEP Act. The court concluded that the Guilford Board of Education, which hosted the clinic, was also covered by the PrEP Act. Despite calling the act of forcing a child to get a COVID-19 shot against his will and without the parent's consent egregious, the court concluded that the PrEP Act preempted state law and protected the defendants from being held liable for battery, violation of Tanner's mother constitutional liberty and parental rights, and violation of Tanner's bodily autonomy and plaintiff's federal constitutional rights. Scary, scary, scary. Next one, SCOTUS denies Kari Lake and Mark Fincham's lawsuit to ban voting machines without comment. So the United States Supreme Court dismissed a lawsuit by former Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake and former Secretary of State candidate Mark Finchem to ban the use of hackable electronic voting machines. The Supreme Court dismissed the case without comment. Now, guys, if you remember this, it was the Democrats leading the charge in 2000, I think it was 18, it was 16, 17, that these machines could be hacked, that they were not safe, that they couldn't pass the tests. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic hit and everybody wanted the machines and the mail-in ballots. And now it's the most safest, secure election ever. I don't know. I don't buy it. Here we go. Joe Biden considers declaring a national climate emergency, giving himself COVID-like powers without congressional approval. Guys, this is scary. If Joe Biden declares a national climate emergency, he would have COVID-like powers. He would impose the Green New Deal on America without a vote of Congress. Related, Joe Biden mulling granting amnesty to over 1 million illegal aliens by executive order ahead of the 2024 election. Shocking. And today, President Biden signed a law that would ban Chinese-owned TikTok unless it's sold within a year. Who cares? All bullshit. Number 4, Target illegally collects customers' biometric data. Class action lawsuit alleges. So class action lawsuit filed in Illinois claims retail giant Target collects and stores customers' biometric data such as facial scans and fingerprints without obtaining proper consent in violation of the state's Biometric Information Privacy Act. So that's interesting. Finally, kids, vaccines, and autism. Will a new legal strategy end decades-long battle for truth and justice? Here's a 2-minute long video. We're going to play this video, and then we'll come back and do D's nuts and wrap this sucker up. Stay tuned.
% of American children today have an autism diagnosis.
It is absolutely frightening what is happening.
Once a rare disorder, it's now become a household word.
And it's gone from 1 in 10,000 to today we're talking about 1 in 36. Things don't change that rapidly if they're not real.
This is exponential growth. It's astounding that they put out these numbers, they put out absolutely no explanation, and yet there's no emergency.
They've stopped even saying that it's an urgent public health concern. I'm sorry, we should not be celebrating a lifelong disability. These kids will be dependent on their parents or the state for the rest of their lives. There is no benefit to being diagnosed autistic.
Autism is not inexpensive.
The study I worked on together with Mark Blaxell and Cynthia Nevison shows autism costs hitting $1 trillion a year in the mid-2030s. So by all estimates, autism costs will soon exceed U.S. Defense Department costs.
Everyone says, oh, we're doing a better job diagnosing. Well, no. The CDC has been doing this survey since the birth year of 1992. In general, there is no change to their CDC methods. They're doing it the same way, and the rates are straight vertical.
There are plenty of scientists that know exactly what's causing autism. They simply cannot say it because they will lose their funding.
The inflection point is obvious around 1990. The most obvious change that affected children across the country at a very clear point in time was the change in the childhood immunization practices.
The Vaccine Act of 1986 is one of the fundamental causes of the autism epidemic, and understanding why that is true and how the United States Department of Justice perpetrated fraud upon the courts, including the Supreme Court of the United States. Revealing that truth is the key to ending the autism epidemic.
Well, guys, look, of course I'm going to be called a conspiracy theorist. People will say hateful things to me and about me because I'm saying it. But again, it comes down to the data. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you mean all these different, we call excess deaths have happened and have popped up on the map since the COVID-19 vaccine was introduced. There's really no other way to look at it. There's nothing else that was introduced on a global scale that would be affecting excess deaths. Okay. Nothing. And still people want to argue that the vaccine didn't do what we're saying it did. Now you go back to the Vaccine Act, 1986, and then all of a sudden, all these increases in autism start spiking from 1990, where we are today, when it was 1 in 10,000, now it's 1 in 36. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you people? Why would you fight? What is in it for you? Or what, I don't know, what is the problem with asking questions? Why would you defend companies that have more criminal penalties than any companies on earth for their practice? I'm talking about the vaccine companies. I'm talking about Big Pharma. So what is in it for you? What is your dog in the fight? Why would you care or not care that these vaccine companies have made billions and hurt these kids? Why would you defend them? Why would you attack people like me saying, I can read data? Could you guys not read that graph? It shows 86, then boop, all the way to 2024. Only difference was in the vaccine practices. Why is it so hard? Why do we sit there and fight with each other? Why would you look at another parent and say, you're crazy? What do you care? If the vaccine worked for your kid, and again, there's no risk for any kids that aren't vaccinated getting other kids sick. There's zero risk. Why do you care? Why put people down? We need to get to the bottom of this. It's a serious thing. We're going to keep covering it. That's just where we're at. So now we're off to our final and favorite segment of the day. I know we got started a little late. We'll finish within, a couple minutes over time. Now, D's Nuts. You guys know D's Nuts is simply our way. If you don't know what D's Nuts stands for, you got problems. But D's Nuts is our way of showcasing just the crazy MFers across this country and globe that say or do some of the nuttiest shit on the planet, and we call them out. We like to end with it. We usually like to declare a winner, but let's roll, Travis, and let's just play them all.
Nuts.
I hate the word liberal, but I'm definitely political, revolutionary.
Revolutionary? What does that mean?
I'm into liberation and the revolution.
And what kind of revolution are you going for?
Down with the 5-day work week, down with capitalism, down with colonialism, giving land back, being happier, not killing the earth.
Well, would you date, I guess, the opposite of revolution?
Never.
Yeah. Is there anyone you'd go on a date with if you disagreed? If George Clooney asked you out, but if the hottest woman on earth asked you out.
If you don't care about revolution, then I'm not going on a date with you.
Fair enough.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I just came up with new neo-pronouns that combine he, him, she, her, and they, them, okay? So hear me out. They, them, theirs, okay? They, them, their, whatever you want to consider it, right? Let's take the first one, the, okay? This combines she, he, and they, right? They. The. That's what they said, That's what they said. Next, we got them, right? Okay, so them, that's just combining them and him. Them. I went to a movie with him the other night. Last one, theirs, okay? It's just like theirs, but also like hers. Theirs. That jacket's theirs. Yes, this just sounds like they, them pronouns, but with the new ultra-scientific method, we have them so they've combined he and she as well. Everybody gets you with the, them, theirs today, yeah?
Here, it's like every single day, you guys, and this is why I complain about all the time.
And here we go.
Yeah, your name's Alex, and I'm gonna be talking to your manager. This guy called me sir. This happens every day. Everywhere I go, I get called sir.
It is
Why would you call a chick big-ass tits? Stop trying to gaslight trans people and tell us that we're crazy. Wait, what? Did you call me sir again? What was that? You said goodnight, sir?
Call me sir, damn it.
Alex, I'm gonna be talking to corporate about you motherfucker. You, okay? That's bullshit. You don't harass trans people at work. Yeah, you did. And I'm walking out and you're like, have a good night, sir? What the f is that? No! You don't do this to trans people. This is discrimination. No, this is discrimination. I'm done with it.
We're done professionally.
It's a slur. Do you not understand? It's like if you call the person of color the N-word.
Sure.
Cis people need to be held accountable for how they treat trans people.
You've got to do better.
You're crazy, bro. Don't call me bro.
What's up, bro? What, bro? What's up, bro?
Stop throwing slurs at me, you piece of shit. Have a good night, sis. No, you. I ain't your sis. I ain't your bro. You don't even know me.
Man, don't act like you know me.
This is transphobia.
We
right here at the public.
You need to monitor the store, okay?
Yeah, you know, you ever heard blasphemy. Well, f you.
Wow. So I think you guys are starting to see what's happening by, affirming this mental health epidemic we're having. I mean, did you guys see all three of those people clearly mentally ill, clearly disturbed, and upset because look, you do whatever you want to do. Dance around with your thee, them, theirs, their, thems. You do whatever you want. I don't have to participate. This is so simple. Okay. And no, if someone calls you what you look like because you definitely were a dude and they call it, deal with it. It's just the way it is, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but we're not going to play into your nonsense. We're not going to play into your delusions. It's not going to happen. You need to get a grip, get a helmet, figure it out, get some mental health counseling, get in some group therapy, maybe get back on some meds. I don't know. What I do know is I'm never going to play your game with you. And the sooner that we all come together and put these people in their place and get them the help they need and stop affirming their nonsense, stop playing pretend with them, which is clearly only making them worse and making the situation worse, the better off we're all going to be. So I just want to say, I think that the third one wins for me, the nut job. Again, I love that comment. He's walking out. Hey, thanks, sis. That's what should happen. Again, I'm looking forward to one of these guys following my daughter into a bathroom and saying that they want to test me. It's going to be great. I hope all dads, all common sense dads, you need to stand up. You saw what Biden just did with Title IX. We have to stand up and protect our women, protect our girls, protect them in their sports and their private places. And if you're a lawyer, if you've got training to get in the fight with us. 100%. Get down to your county commission, get down to your school board, hold these clowns accountable for what they're doing. And like I said, get in the fight. It starts at the local level. As I always say, leadership is action. It's not a position. Thank you for joining me here on Gloves Off. We'll be back again next week with more exciting stuff as usual. We'll see you next time. God bless. We love you.